She stood at the doorway with her suitcase in one hand, smug as hell, lips curled like she'd just won some kind of prize. Her heels clicked once on the hardwood floor as she turned to deliver the final blow. Not with a knife, not even with a scream. Just a whisper that cut deeper than anything I could have imagined. I only used you to get what I wanted. You're nothing to me now. I'm leaving for a real alpha man. No hesitation. No guilt. She walked out, swinging her hips like this was a victory parade. My heart. It didn't break. It detonated. But I didn't beg. I didn't cry. I didn't even slam the door. I stood there for maybe 5 seconds, then calmly grabbed my phone, made a call, and arranged something that would speak louder than any final word. That same evening, while she was probably rolling in her new lover's sheets, I showed up to their fancy little townhouse in Westwood, the one he bragged about on social media, where they took that new beginnings selfie a week ago. I backed up a truck filled with everything she ever left behind. Broken decorations, clothes that still smelled like my cologne, wedding gifts, old photo albums, and then I added more. A full mountain of trash. Rotten food, busted electronics, junk I found around the garage. Then I climbed on top, looked straight into the ring cam, and said, "This is yours now. I'm taking the real home with me." I smiled. I walked away, and I knew this was only the beginning. You want to know how I got there? How a man like me, 38 years old, business owner, loyal to the bone, ends up used like some disposable card in a game I never agreed to play. Then buckle up, because it wasn't just the affair. It was the humiliation, the manipulation, the lies that wrapped around me like silk while she choked the life out of everything we built. Her name's Samantha, and if you're picturing some sweet, southern church girl, stop. Samantha was fire, venom, and sharp smiles. The kind of woman that walked into a room and made every guy turn his head and every girl feel 2 inches shorter. And I was stupid enough to think she was mine. We met 6 years ago at a corporate gala in New York. I was the quiet one, sharp suit, whiskey in hand, not looking to flirt. She found that fascinating. Or maybe she found my wallet fascinating. Back then I was climbing fast, had just landed a major contract with a tech firm, and my name started showing up in magazines. Samantha latched on like ambition in heels. She wasn't all bad in the beginning. She played the role, the supportive wife, the party-perfect date, the seductive partner who whispered promises at night and moaned like I was the only man on earth. But things changed slowly, like poison in water. You don't notice the taste until it's already too late. And now, standing in front of that dumpster of a gift I left her, I realized that woman was never real. She was a projection, a facade made of rehearsed smiles, carefully timed tears, and just enough charm to make you believe she actually gave a damn. But this isn't just a story about heartbreak. This is about discovery. How I went from clueless to cold-blooded in just a matter of weeks. How her lies became my ammunition. And how the man she thought was weak was only pretending. Because Samantha wasn't just cheating. She was planning something bigger. And I was about to find it all out. It started with her phone. I never used to check it. Never. I was raised on trust, not paranoia. But Samantha had started doing this thing. Holding her phone face down, silencing notifications, disappearing for hours with the excuse of yoga or brunch with the girls. At first, I chalked it up to her needing space. We'd been arguing more. Maybe she was just escaping. But one Sunday morning, I woke up to find her phone buzzing on the nightstand. She was in the shower, singing something upbeat like she didn't have a damn worry in the world. The screen lit up, and I saw it. Zach flexed biceps fire. Zach. Not Mom. Not Emily. Not even Greg from accounting. Zach, with a flexing bicep and a flame emoji. My gut twisted. My pulse slowed. I knew guys like Zach. The overconfident, cologne-soaked kind. The type that walks into a gym, shouts his own name for motivation, and somehow convinces women he's deep because he owns a dog and posts fake deep quotes. I swiped. I shouldn't have, but I did. What I saw made my stomach flip. Not just because of what they were saying, but because of how she sounded. Samantha, my wife, giggling like a schoolgirl, sending mirror selfies in underwear I didn't even recognize. "Wish I could sneak over," she wrote. "I miss your body." He sent a video. I skipped it. I wasn't ready for that level of trauma. Instead, I clicked on an old message thread. That's when I saw the worst part. This wasn't new. It went back months. Hidden under fake contact names. Delivery guy, vet office, even maid service. She'd been laughing behind my back, planning little getaways, calling me so blind it's cute. I don't remember putting the phone down. My hands went numb. My face felt frozen. I stared at the wall, hearing the water shut off, her slippers patter on the tile. She walked back and wrapped in a towel, humming, pretending to be innocent. And I just sat there, phone in hand, like my whole body was underwater. "You okay?" she asked. I didn't answer. Not yet. That night, I didn't confront her. Not because I was scared, but because I wanted everything first. I backed up her messages, exported her emails, synced her cloud. I knew enough from business to leave a digital trail clean as a courtroom file. If I was going to burn this down, I needed fuel. I stayed silent for 4 days. And during those 4 days, I watched. I noticed how she only kissed me on the cheek now. How she fell asleep early. How she never brought up the future anymore. She didn't even look at me. Not really. Not like a wife looks at a husband. She looked at me like I was already gone. But here's the kicker. I wasn't the only one noticing. One evening, my assistant Brielle pulled me aside at the office. "You okay, Mr. Carter? You seem distracted lately." I shrugged. "Personal stuff." She hesitated. "Can I say something? And please don't take it the wrong way." I nodded. "I saw your wife last week. I was at Sapphire Lounge with my boyfriend. She wasn't alone." I felt the blood drain from my face. She was with some guy, huge arms, like bodybuilder big. He had his hand on her thigh the whole time. I didn't want to assume anything, but they kissed. I saw it. "I'm sorry." I thanked her, told her not to worry, walked back to my office and closed the door behind me. Then I stared at the wall for 15 straight minutes, fists clenched, jaw tight enough to break molars. So it was true. All of it. The gym excuses. The secret names. The bicep emoji. Zach wasn't a fling. He was her real plan. And suddenly, everything made sense. Why she pushed me to refinance the house. Why she asked questions about our company's shares. Why she kept telling me I deserved a break from work. She wasn't just cheating. She was replacing me. The night I confronted Samantha, it wasn't fireworks or shouting. It was surgical. She came home late. Again, wearing lipstick she didn't leave the house in, with her hair freshly tousled in that effortless way you only get from riding in someone else's passenger seat. I sat at the kitchen table, lights off, one glass of scotch untouched in front of me, the other half drunk in my hand. Her heels echoed through the hallway before she paused. "Why are you sitting in the dark?" she asked, flipping on the light. I didn't answer, just stared. Then slowly, I slid her phone across the table. She looked down and froze. For the first time in 6 years, I saw real fear in her eyes. Not panic, not guilt, fear. I opened the cloud. I said, "Calm." I was ice. "You should really clear your deleted folders more often." Samantha didn't move. Her hand twitched, like she wanted to grab the phone, maybe smash it, maybe throw it in the sink, but she didn't. Instead, she exhaled sharply, rolled her eyes, and muttered, "You're being dramatic." Dramatic. That was her go-to when things didn't go her way. When she didn't feel like explaining herself. When she wanted to dismiss the conversation and control the narrative. "You're sleeping with Zach." I didn't phrase it as a question. She gave me a smirk, a damn smirk, and shrugged. So what? That hit harder than any punch. My heart wanted to explode, but my face stayed still. "You could have left," I said. "You could have just ended it." "Why would I?" she snapped back. "You paid for everything. I live like a queen. And honestly," she stepped closer, eyes sharp, voice cruel. "I only used you to get what I wanted. You're nothing to me now. I'm leaving for a real alpha man." I blinked. Not in shock. Not anymore. Just to hold back the urge to grab something. Anything. And throw it through the damn wall. "You think Zach's the real deal?" I asked. She tilted her head. "He's a man. He doesn't cry into spreadsheets or talk about taxes. He knows how to make me feel alive." I laughed. It slipped out before I could stop it. "Yeah? You know what he doesn't know?" She raised an eyebrow. "That the townhouse lease is in my name. That the car he's been driving? I paid the down payment. That your credit cards?" I pulled a folder from under the table and dropped it in front of her. "All tied to my business account." She paled. That confidence started to crack. I stood up, stepped close enough to smell his cologne on her skin. "You used me, lied to me, laughed behind my back. But here's where it ends." Samantha crossed her arms, trying to recover her fake pride. "You won't do anything. You're weak. Always have been." That's when I whispered, "Then watch me." I didn't scream. I didn't hit anything. I walked past her, took the house keys off the hook, grabbed a duffel bag I'd packed earlier, and left. She followed me outside, still shouting. Something about how I'd regret this, how Zach would protect her, how I was just jealous of a real man. I didn't even look back. By the next morning, I'd locked her out of the bank accounts, canceled the cards, and sent a termination letter to the lease office with copies of the video evidence attached. She called me 32 times that day. I answered none, but I did text one photo. A truck parked in front of their house, dumping trash. And a message. This is yours now. I'm taking the real home with me. That's when the screaming started. The silence after everything blew up was louder than any of her screams. For the first time in 6 years, I woke up alone. No sound of the hairdryer buzzing in the bathroom. No smell of Samantha's overpriced perfume soaking the sheets. Just silence. And space. And something I hadn't felt in a long time, clarity. But clarity doesn't mean peace. Not yet. That first morning, I sat on the edge of the guest room bed at my brother's place. The same bed where his kids once jumped around during Christmas, the one I now called home. My phone lit up with a fresh round of notifications. Voicemails, texts, missed calls, all from her. The same woman who told me I was nothing. The same one who paraded another man through our marriage like it was a joke. Now, suddenly, she wanted to talk. Please call me. I need to explain. Why are you doing this? This is childish. You think dumping trash makes you strong? You're just pathetic. The messages changed tone every few hours. Desperate, angry, manipulative, like she was throwing every version of herself at the wall to see what would stick. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Not because I was cold, but because I was breaking on the inside. You see, the hardest part about betrayal isn't the lies. It's not even the humiliation. It's that you start questioning everything. Not just her, but yourself. Your choices. Your instincts. Your worth. I kept asking, how did I miss it? How long had she looked me in the eyes while thinking of him? Was she ever real? Or just an illusion I bought into because I was lonely? It felt like grief. Not the kind you get when someone dies. No, this was worse. Because the person still exists. You see them walking around, breathing, posting selfies. And yet, the version of them you loved? Dead. Gone. And I wasn't just mourning her. I was mourning me. The man who trusted too easily. Who gave too much. Who stayed quiet when the signs were there because he didn't want to seem paranoid. Now I was angry. At her. At him. At myself. I started replaying every red flag I ignored. The fake smiles when I asked how her day was. The coldness in bed. The sudden interest in self-care weekends. I remembered how she'd roll her eyes when I talked about work, how she mocked my routine, the very routine that funded her lifestyle. I had been building a kingdom, brick by brick, and she'd been slipping the blueprints under someone else's pillow. That night, I went for a drive. No destination, just movement. I needed to feel like I was going somewhere, even if I wasn't. As the city blurred past, I ended up outside the Sapphire Lounge, the same place Brielle told me she saw Samantha with Zach. I sat across the street in my car, watching through the tinted glass. I don't know what I expected, maybe to see them laughing again, maybe to confront them, maybe just. I don't know. But they weren't there. Just neon lights and strangers living their lives. And that's when it hit me. They weren't special. Samantha and Zach weren't a power couple. They were two insecure people clinging to each other like lifeboats, convinced that lust equaled love and secrets meant power. I had been in a real war, the kind where you fight for someone's soul. And I lost. But I also walked away. I survived. That night, I slept. Truly slept. No racing thoughts. No tight chest. No rage bubbling under the surface. I wasn't healed, but I was awake. Finally, by week 2, the storm started to settle. No more daily explosions of rage or heartbreak. No more checking my phone every 5 minutes. Samantha's messages slowed down, though I knew better than to believe she was done. Manipulators rarely surrender. They just pause to find a new angle. I hadn't responded once, but that didn't mean I wasn't thinking. The question pounding in my skull every night was simple. What now? What do you do after the person you trusted the most burns down everything you built together and doesn't even flinch? Do you try to repair what's left? Try therapy? Get revenge? Or walk away and never look back? Everyone had an opinion. My brother, Mike, said, file for divorce and don't even tell her. Serve her papers in front of her gym boyfriend. My best friend, Jason, was more poetic. Block her everywhere. Let the silence be your revenge. Even Brielle, quiet, polite Brielle, left a note on my desk one morning. You deserve a life that doesn't feel like walking on glass. Don't forget that. I appreciated their support, but none of them had lived in my skin. None of them had woken up every day next to someone who now felt like a stranger in memory. I had to decide this for myself. So I made a list. Yeah, it sounds stupid, but I needed to see the truth. Needed to strip the emotion away and look at the raw facts. Reasons to stay. History. Marriage vows. The fear of starting over. Reasons to leave. She cheated. She lied, repeatedly. She disrespected me, laughed at me, used me. She chose another man and told me I was nothing. She only wanted to talk when the money disappeared. The leave side took up an entire page. I sat with that list for an hour. Then I stood up, walked to the fireplace, and burned it. Not in some dramatic movie moment way. Quietly. Deliberately. It was time. The next morning, I called my lawyer. His name's Todd. Cold as ice, smart as hell. Within 24 hours, the divorce petition was ready, and we served Samantha at Zach's apartment. Todd made sure to deliver it just as they were leaving for the gym. She tried to call me after that, several times. When I didn't answer, she sent a long email. It started off sweet, filled with fake remorse and recycled, "We were so good together" memories. Then the threats came. "If you do this, I'll go after your company. You'll regret humiliating me. You're ruining your own life." I didn't respond to that either, because by then, I already had a plan. My lawyer froze all joint assets. I updated the business structure to ensure she couldn't touch a cent. She didn't realize the house was in a trust. My trust, set up before we married. She could have had a clean break, a graceful exit. Instead, she went full scorched earth. So I returned the favor, but legally, cleanly, and with receipts. The final decision wasn't just about her. It was about me. For too long, I had let comfort make me blind. Let routine silence my gut. Let love, or what I thought was love, excuse behavior that deserved to be condemned. No more. I wasn't just leaving her. I was leaving the version of me that tolerated less than I deserved. The divorce wasn't revenge. It was freedom. It took 6 months for the divorce to finalize. 6 long months of paperwork, meetings, silent glares in court, and shallow emails from Samantha, where she flipped between playing the victim and the predator. Zach. He disappeared 2 months in. Apparently, alpha men don't do lawyers, bills, or commitment. He bailed as soon as her credit cards stopped swiping. No calls. No explanations. Just gone, like he was never real to begin with. The last time I saw Samantha in person was in that cold courtroom. She showed up overdressed, caked in makeup, trying to look like the woman I used to chase. But her eyes were empty. Not fiery, not sharp, just tired. The kind of tired that comes from trying to live off lies and ego alone. She expected a fight that day. She expected me to beg, or scream, or maybe try to win her back for the sake of pride. Instead, I signed the final papers, pushed them toward the judge, and said, calmly, "Let her have whatever she thinks is left." I walked out, didn't look back, and that's when it truly ended. The next weeks were quieter than I expected. There's this strange stillness after chaos, like your soul doesn't know what to do with the peace. I stopped checking her social media, stopped reading old texts, stopped replaying the betrayals in my mind. Instead, I got back to work. I restructured the business, gave Brielle a promotion she damn well earned, and took a long overdue vacation to Montana. No phones, no distractions, just nature, whiskey, and the realization that I wasn't broken, just bruised. And bruises heal. You want to know the biggest thing I learned? Love isn't about the fireworks. It's not about lust or passion or whatever twisted power trip Samantha mistook for love. Love is respect. It's loyalty when no one's watching. It's choosing someone every single day, not using them until something shinier comes along. If you're in a relationship where your gut is constantly screaming, where you feel like you're walking on glass, where your partner makes you feel small, run. I don't care how good the memories were. I don't care how long you've been together. You don't owe your life to someone who spits on your trust. And if you're a man reading this, thinking, that would never happen to me, wake up. It doesn't start with a stranger in your bed. It starts with disrespect, with little digs at your worth, with dismissing your concerns, with lies wrapped in perfume and kisses laced with guilt trips. Samantha didn't destroy me. She revealed me. She exposed the cracks I ignored, The soft spots I let her walk over. And in the end, she handed me the greatest gift of all, the chance to rebuild without her. Now, I sleep like a rock. I wake up with purpose. And every time I drive past that townhouse, the one where I dumped the trash, I smile. Because that was never a home. It was a stage, a theater of lies. And now I live in truth. The next woman I love will get a man who knows his worth, who's been to hell and came back stronger, colder, smarter. So, to the man out there thinking he's less because she left, let her leave. Clean the ashes. Rebuild the walls. And when you're done, leave the trash where it belongs. Outside, life after her wasn't just quieter, it was sharper, clearer. The world seemed to unfold in a different way, like I had been looking through fog glass for years, and someone finally wiped it clean. I moved into a new place on the edge of the city. Smaller, cozier, no unnecessary luxury. No gold-framed mirrors or designer chandeliers. Just wood, steel, and honesty. Every corner of that apartment felt like mine. No ghosts. No perfume laced with guilt. No tension hiding in the cushions of the couch. The first thing I did was throw out the bed. You'd be surprised how much trauma can live in a mattress. The second thing I did, start saying yes to things I used to ignore. Dinners with friends. Weekend trips. Long conversations. I began rebuilding the man she tried to bury, not out of revenge anymore, but because he deserved to be reborn. One Saturday afternoon, I found myself at a local charity auction. Brielle had invited me. She now ran operations for the company and insisted I get out of the damn house. So I went. Wore a black jacket, no tie, kept it simple. That's where I met Elena. She wasn't flashy. No neon red lips or snakeskin heels. She wore jeans, boots, and a navy blazer. Her laugh wasn't seductive. It was real, loud, contagious. She joked about the wine being fancy grape juice for tax breaks, and I laughed harder than I had in a year. We talked the whole evening. About music, architecture, dogs. Not once did she ask what I did for a living. Not once did she try to impress me. She just was. And that's what floored me. For the first time since Samantha, I wasn't performing. I wasn't shrinking or second-guessing or scanning the conversation for traps. I was just me, raw, unpolished, a little wounded but open. We went on a few dates. No pressure. No what are we talks. Just two people enjoying space that didn't come with knives hidden in smiles. One night, over dinner at a quiet rooftop place, Elena asked, "What's the worst pain you've ever felt?" I didn't dodge it. I told her. Everything. Samantha, Zach, the affair, the fallout, the trash truck, the courtroom. She didn't flinch. She didn't pity me. She just nodded and said, "That means you'll never let yourself go blind again. Pain teaches clarity." She was right. But even as something new began to form, I wasn't in a rush to fill the space Samantha left behind. I had no interest in patching my soul with someone else's presence. That kind of healing has to come from within. I started journaling. I meditated, something I used to roll my eyes at. I even picked up boxing. There's something poetic about throwing punches at a bag with the name Zach in your head. Therapeutic, even. Every week, I checked in with myself. Do I miss her? Not her. Not really. I missed the idea of her, the version I built in my head. The woman who smiled at our wedding, who whispered dreams into my ear at night, who pretended we were building something eternal. But that woman never truly existed. What I miss is trust. What I crave is truth. And I've learned that truth doesn't wear heels and fake apologies. Truth sits across from you with calm eyes, listens more than she speaks, and never makes you beg to be seen. Samantha was a lesson, a storm, a collapse. Elena? Maybe she's the sunrise. But whether she stays or goes, I'll be fine. Because for the first time in a long time, I am. It's funny how a single betrayal can split your life in two, before and after. Like crossing a river and realizing the bridge behind you has burned, whether you like it or not. And yet, I've never felt more alive on the other side. Looking back now, I don't feel hatred toward Samantha. I don't feel the need to spit her name like poison or fantasize about revenge anymore. That phase passed, burned out with the last voicemail she left that I never played. What I feel now is clarity. Not the kind that comes from reading quotes or sipping whiskey on a balcony while pretending life is poetic. No, I mean real clarity. The kind that only arrives after you've had your soul kicked into the dirt, stepped on, and left for dead. The kind that comes when you look at your scars and realize they're the cleanest, truest part of you. People ask me sometimes, quietly, carefully, would you ever forgive her? And here's the truth. I don't need to forgive her. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. People think it means letting someone off the hook, giving them peace. But forgiveness, to me, is choosing to no longer let their shadow live rent-free in your mind. I don't need her apology. I don't need her to understand. I don't need her to hurt the way she hurt me. She did what she did, and I took it, ate the pain, swallowed the betrayal, let it churn in my gut until it became fuel. And then, I built something stronger. Me, not the man I used to be, desperate to please, eager to explain away red flags. That guy died the moment she looked me in the eye and said, I only used you to get what I wanted. What she didn't realize was, I should have thanked her, because in destroying me, she gave me freedom. She gave me truth. She gave me rebirth. There's something terrifying and beautiful about starting from zero. No lies, no masks, just the man in the mirror and whatever future he decides to carve. My company, it's thriving. My health, better than ever. My relationships, real, raw, and rooted in honesty. And Elena? Well, let's just say she still laughs at my bad jokes, still texts me dog photos, still sits across from me during quiet mornings, and never makes silence feel like punishment. Will it last? I don't know. And for once, I'm okay with not knowing. Because love, real love, doesn't demand certainty. It doesn't whisper threats. It doesn't keep score. It doesn't break you just to see if you'll crawl back. Real love holds you as you are, not for what you give, not for how much you earn, not for how well you fake a smile. Just you. If you're reading this because someone betrayed you, hear this. You are not broken. You are not less. You are not the reason they lied. Their choices are theirs. But your healing? That's yours. Pick up the pieces. Not to rebuild the same man, but to craft a better one. One who walks taller, speaks softer, loves smarter. One who never again accepts being a convenience or a stepping stone. And one day, when the past knocks at your door, begging to be let back in, just smile, nod, and say, that version of me no longer lives here. And close the door. For good.